Hey, my name is Amy Fallman. I'm a physiotherapist in Ottawa, and we're going to continue on our running series, and we're going to talk a little bit about plantar fasciitis, which is pain to the bottom of the foot. Now, there's a few different things that can cause pain to the bottom of the foot and in this area. So particularly plantar fasciitis is pain to the inside front corner of your heel. So that is pain from the inside top corner of your heel and then into the arch of your foot. It does not include pain to the balls of your feet, nor does it include pain on the heel itself. So if it's pain that you have literally on your heel, it's probably something different, like an irritated fat pad. If it's pain around the edge of your heel, kind of around the back and then to the inside and outside edges of it, it's probably something different as well. So plantar fasciitis itself, pain to the arch of your foot, and including that inside front corner of your heel. So if that's what you have, you've known, I'm sure, that it's quite aggravating. You get to learn very quickly how bad you really need your feet and how much time you're on your feet. So the first thing you want to do is offload that as best you can. This is where orthotics come in really nicely. So if you have orthotics kicking around somewhere that you're not using, put them in your shoes, wear them all the time. If you don't have orthotics, you want supportive shoes, or you can go and get some over-the-counter orthotics if you're not going out right now because you're quarantined. Then what I would do is dig out your most supportive shoes. This is where your old Birkenstocks come in, pairs of runners, and you wear shoes 100% of the time. So right from when you get out of bed in the morning to when you're walking around the house, and when you go out, you want to use your best supportive shoes that you can. This also might be indicative of the fact that you might be ready for new shoes. If you're getting pain while you're working out, you either might need to put your orthotic into your workout shoes just to offload it a bit and let that settle down. And it might be indicative of you need new shoes. So those are some things to watch out for. While you're in the early stages of treating this, you're also going to want to remove all the high impact loading from your workouts. So that includes running, anything jumping, burpees, skipping, anything where your feet leave the ground and then land again. You can change to low impact versions of those if your foot is tolerating it. Say low impact burpees where you're not actually jumping, or like low impact jumping jacks. You can do stuff like that too. You also want to make sure that you're offloading this as much as possible. So let's say that you have a dog and you are responsible for walking that dog. Try and break it up into some shorter walks as opposed to some really long walks, and just take the stress off this as much as possible. You can alleviate some of the symptoms of this. If it's really, really acute, you really want to stay off it, which means that it's brand new and it's super, super painful. You want to stay off it as much as you can. But if you're into more of the chronic version of this, that sometimes can stick around for months. One symptom relief technique you can use, again, is rolling. I'm going to link to a video I've done in the past on rolling the bottom of your foot. That works really well for your plantar fasciitis, but you also want to include your calf muscle here. So you can use foam rollers, rolling pins, PVC pipe, or lacrosse balls for this. When you do this, you want to make sure that you roll nice and slow, and make sure you roll your calf from the inside and from the outside, not just from the back itself, so that you're trying to get the different angles of the muscle tension. It should be almost like you're trying to get the foam roller or the ball in between the muscle and the bone. So I like to use 2 lacrosse balls together for this, or these are 2 yoga tune-up balls. You're going to do this on the floor. The 2, what they do is, one just basically stops the other one from rolling away on you, because they can actually kind of shoot around. It can be tough to control if you've never done it before. And you just tip your leg to the inside, start all the way down at your Achilles tendon, and slowly, slowly, slowly roll all the way up to your knee. And you would repeat this for the inside of the leg, the outside, and then you can also roll the back of the leg as well. Now, another thing that's really useful in treating plantar fasciitis is this plantar fasciitis sock. that sometimes people have kicking around. If you've had this before, you may have one of these. It is a sock that goes all the way up to your, hi Stewie, hi buddy, good boy. So the sock goes on and all the way up to your knee, and you'll recognize it as having a piece of material that pulls your foot up into dorsiflexion and attaches from your toe up to your knee. You can make one of these if you have a long sock around. You can put you can sew a piece of material on this way, or you could wrap a piece of, say, duct tape around here and then wrap it around the front of your top of your foot here. These are meant to be worn at night, and they can be worn for a long period of time. So don't make it so tight that you can't wear this for hours on end. It's meant to have a little bit of give, but what it does is stretch your calf out while you're sleeping, and it gives your calf and your plantar fascia a really long hold stretch. They're actually quite useful for this. So on the heels of that, if you don't have one of these around and you can't figure out how to make one, you do want to make sure you are stretching your calf as part of the treatment for this. If you're doing this calf stretch, you want to do it in a way that your toes are also stretched up as you're stretching your calf at the same time. This can be done a number of different ways. This is just one way to show you. And then long term, what you want to do is make sure your plantar fascia and your calf are both really strong to take any kind of impact loading where you're landing, jumping and landing basically, so landing on the balls of your foot and bringing your heels down. There's a number of ways to do this, and everybody will have different exercises that they like for this. A good one to get you started is to start with your feet planted. You're going to lift your arches up and make sure as you lift your arches up, your hips turn open at the same time. So part of the problem that can be included in plantar fasciitis is anything that causes your arches to collapse in. So it can be a chain problem anywhere from your hips down to your feet. So truthfully, the strengthening exercise for this could look different for everybody, but this is just a good one to get you going, is to make sure you lift your arches, turn your knees out, turn your hips open, come up onto the balls of your feet, trying to keep your arches lifted, and lower yourself down, keeping your arches lifted. And you would do this in different hip widths. As your hips go wider, you also should bring your knees out more and open your hips more, much like you do if you're going to load a heavy squat. And then you lift up onto your toes, trying to keep your arches engaged, and lower down with control back down to your heels. This is best done barefoot, by the way, and you can keep working out into wider and wider ranges. So these are some ideas to get you going. Truthfully, the biggest key to these ones are to offload your foot, try and get the strain off, and then get things really like stretched out and rolled out. You start with those, and the strengthening becomes kind of the longer term fix for this. And that's really it for plantar fasciitis. We'll talk about running technique and how you can change your running technique to offload this in another video. Thanks so much.